after the 2018 season, before last year, you went back and looked at the amount of sacks you could have or should have had, and you would have had double-digit sacks. You had double-digit sacks this past season. Did you go back and look at some more and figured out how many you could have had, and what do you expect this year?
Yeah, Dev, anytime as a pass rusher, you always go back and look at the sacks that you could have had, that you missed, that was in your hand. You try to correct those mistakes. Finishing is a part of it. So, you got to make sure that that's a number one priority, as a pass rusher, to make sure you finish at the end. You're going to have situations where it might not be the ideal position for a sack, but you got to keep it going and just, make that play.
All right, Joe Rudder. Joe, go ahead.
Hi, bud. Did you guys ever get close or do any negotiations on a long-term deal before the deadline passed? And, what are your thoughts playing on the franchise tag this year?
The franchise tag is what I'm in now. So, it's just a part of business. We came close to a 2-year, $200 million deal. But I was like, nah, Cam can get the money. So that was fine with me.
All right, we'll move on to LB Oxenrider. LB, go ahead.
Hey, bud, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Question for you about where you and the team are, from a preparation standpoint, mentally for the season. You're 2 weeks away. After all you've been through, after all the questions in this offseason, does it feel real to you right now? And do you feel like this is it? You're ready to go?
Well, truly, during the virus, the whole situation, the pandemic came, and it's it was a lot of air in between our thoughts that will we play, will we be able to practice. But once we came to camp and just been around Coach Tubman, listening to him leading us the right direction, preparing us for this type of environment that we'll be playing in, the new environment of the world. And now it's starting to feel back real again. So a lot of guys are gazing back in, we're locking back in. We're full focus. Camp's been going good for a lot of people. And, we're trying to get better and better each day so we can be prepared for the whole season and the playoff run as well.
All right. Brooke Pryor. Brooke, go ahead.
Hey, Bud, I was just watching a video of you from earlier this summer where one of the workout things that looked like you were doing was having someone hit you in the stomach with a medicine ball. Why? And also, what other kind of things were you doing to work out while everything was kind of locked down?
Yeah, that's a core exercise that I do. Man, it's just something really to show out, just basically getting punched in the stomach. It's a boxing, what boxers do. But, I just did a lot of different stuff during the quarantine that I can make sure I stayed in shape, stayed active the whole time. Didn't want to just sit around and be idle. That was a good thing that I had to do, not try to sit around and wait on the virus. So go out and make sure that I'm preparing myself for the season as if we would have played. And now that we know that we are playing, it was a great gesture by me just to go out and make sure I kept working. It was fun during that whole lockdown time to even be able to just leave the house and go to the gym and work out. So that was fun for me, even having that leeway.
All right, Mark Caboli. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, bud, how you doing?
What's up, Bob?
My question is, TJ said he's not much into that pass rushing coach in the off season, but you're the opposite. What did you get from Chuck Smith that helped you the most, and were you even able to get down there this year with him at all because of the shutdown?
Yeah, some guys like pass rush coach, some guys don't. But me, I'm always in the stepping stone of wanting to learn more and wanting to just see how other guys move and what a pass rush coach sees in me and what it can help me with. Chuck is always I tell people all the time, Chuck is the foundation of pass rushing. He's one of the first ones to really do it at a high level. He's the foundation of it. And then also you add in other guys in too, like BT and Mark Hall, who I was working with, BT, Jordan too. All three of those guys, if you can go just be a part of their program in the off season, I feel like it'll take your mentality to a different level as far as knowing how to win, and also just take your mental to another level too, just by being, just learning the angles, learning the hand movements, learning how they see it, despite of how you see it as well.
All right, Jeff Hathorn. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, bud. I can understand why you turned down $200 million. That's a bit low. Just wondering, what are your emotions knowing that you're going into the final year of a contract where you control where you're going to be after this season?
Yeah, man, it's I would say it's bittersweet. It's also a blessing to be able to get to this point in my career, to still be here, to work through adversity, work hard and just be in this position I am today. And also, I'm being in my driver's seat of my career right now. So I'll go out and just play the best I can play. Everything will play its place at the end of the end of the year. I'll be able to control my own destiny. But for right now, I just got to go out and just keep working hard the way I do. Keep trying to get better and better each day, and keep having my teammates like we have to compete against each other and just make us that much better. But man, at the end of the day, it's a blessing, and it's a business. It's a business too. So it goes both ways.
Mike Prizzuta. Mike, go ahead.
Hi, Bud. What have you seen from Alex Highsmith so far, and what would be the ideal number of snaps that you and TJ could take off and still be effective?
Oh, man, Alex is ahead, man. Alex is doing real good. He's a smart kid, very athletic. He moves well, and he's always eager to learn stuff. So he's always asking questions and trying to imitate some stuff that we do just to make sure that he's doing it correctly. So, he's always trying to – so he's running to the ball well. He's actually making plays on the field too. So, it's good to just see how he came in prepared. Even during the pandemic, he didn't even have OTAs or anything like that. He still came in. He's doing pretty good. And how many snaps we can take off? I mean, whenever we get tired, we'll come out. We ain't really got no issue with that. Whenever we get tired, we want to be the first that we can on the field so we can make as many plays as possible. And Alex and whoever else is, Ola and all the other guys, they'll come in and they'll provide that spark that we need when we're not on the field.
All right, we'll move on to Will Grades. Will, go ahead.
Hey, Bud, last year you said all the right things when we'd asked you about your contract, and you said, look, I'm betting on myself, and obviously that paid off for you. Is there any level of concern when you look into 2021 and beyond about the financial state the NFL might be in? We have no idea what the long-term effects of not having fans in the stands might have. Or is there concern about that for you, just what your value might be next summer or next spring?
No, right? No, that's a big thing to think about. But at the end of the day, I think everything can handle itself. And, everybody's just looking for the best.
All right, we got time for two more. We'll go to Brian Bacco. Brian, go ahead.
Hey, Bud. There was a report last month that you and your agency had filed some paperwork to maybe get your franchise tag bumped up to the defensive end number because there's some wiggle room sometimes with those situations. Whatever came of that, and what do you kind of consider yourself, an outside linebacker or more of a traditional end?
Oh, yeah. So that's in process right now. And my agent and the Steelers are handling that situation. And, in the defense, the type of defense that we play and the type of scheme that's taking over a new league, I feel like DNs and linebackers are all the same category. So, it's just that type of new style that defense is being played in the NFL, just different type of body style with the same type of position.
All right, last one. We'll go to a follow-up. Jerry, go ahead.
Hey, but last year you guys played with the lead so few times. I think 16 quarters out of 64, yet you still led the league in sacks and takeaways. With Ben back and some of the weapons that you've added on offense, if you're playing with the lead, what can your numbers be this year as a defense? How much more can you exceed what you did last year?
You always want to have the lead just so you know it's going to be passed most of the time. So with that being said, man, you can get way more opportunities when you got the lead. And with those opportunities, we got to create plays. So we get those opportunities, we got to create the plays and create the splash plays that we can, and it may be something special.
Jerry, I was just wondering, in terms of your inside linebacker position, is Ulysses showing you enough that he can be that guy who can play either spot inside?
Yes, he is. He's done a very good job at learning both spots, and he's done that out there on the field with the calls and things like that. Now he has a long way to go, just in general because of last year. But I like his trajectory.
All right, we'll move on to Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Hey, Jerry. I was wondering about Devin Bush. Specifically, how much throughout the course of last year did Ryan Shazier help him develop as a mentor? And also, how challenging is it, not having Ryan Shazier around during this training camp to kind of help those guys along just because of all the COVID restrictions?
Ryan did a great job last year. He would, a player like Ryan puts in different pieces to the puzzle a lot. And so it's hard to quantify exactly what he did. But, when you have a guy there and say, hey, that used to happen to me, and this is what I did to overcome it, that really helps because you know how successful Ryan is. And you're like, oh, I'm glad somebody else went through this. So, as I said, it's hard to quantify the impact that Ryan had last year, only because it was so varied. He was great to have around. What was your second part of the question?
Sorry, second part was just, how difficult is it to not, or how much of a change is it to not be able to have him around during training camp because of the COVID restrictions?
It's really hard to not have him around. I think about him every day, and I have to send a text to him. I haven't, but I go out there and then I see a picture or something from years past or a clip from years past, and I'm really like, damn, I miss him. You know what I mean? Because besides Ryan's or past Ryan's football ability and how well he played football, he was just great to be around. And that's hard because we got a lot of good guys in our locker room, and it's nice, Cam and Vince and Minka and Ben and all the guys, they form a good group. And Ryan's an important part of that group because, he just does stuff and, we can laugh at him sometimes and then he laughs at us. And it's a big part of the team. So me personally, I miss him a lot because just because of the person he is.
We'll move on to Mike Prizzuta. Mike, go ahead.
Weird. No replies. Mike, what's up?
Jerry, how you doing?
Come on, let's get this thing going.
I just jumped on here. You're early, so I'm late. But Devin Bush has talked a lot about being better in a lot of areas. He's not any taller from what I can tell. How's he handle pass coverage?
Well, I think if we look at last year and he had a pick on a 6'8" guy and he ran down the field on the guy from Cincinnati and got the ball out for Minka, I think he does really well in pass coverage. I don't, like the word you used to describe him, I do not use in my vocabulary when I talk to him. Okay, he's a great player. He could jump 40 inches, so that covers a lot of area. He could fill up the space, and that's what I try to get him to do is say, hey, this is what we're doing. Okay, we're going to maximize your talent. Okay, regardless of what governor somebody tries to put on you. And Mike, I'm not saying that you're putting a governor on him, but I can't even entertain that because that's just how I am. See, there's no give back here. Are you guys recording this?
Yes.
Man, you got to keep them on there for a while so I could have the give and take.
Try to get everybody in. We'll go on to Tim Benz.
Tim Benz.
Jerry, hi. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Hey, as far as the notion of safeties playing inside linebacker and maybe having to do some of that based on numbers and some of your defensive packages, Where are you in teaching those guys, and what are the most inherent challenges to them doing that position switch?
Well, the biggest thing is if you like playing football, how much you like hitting people. Okay, so if you like hitting people, I assume you're referring to Marcus Allen. Marcus likes hitting people, so playing linebacker is no problem for him. Now he hasn't done a lot of drills over his lifetime to play linebacker, but he's doing a fine job, and bringing Marcus into my room really pumped up the room. It got all the other guys excited. I think it got the defense as a whole excited, because now you get to see a guy and say, wow, that guy really can do some stuff. And so, there's things inherently wrong, but, the hardest thing about football is running into people. And Marcus has no problem doing that, so I have no problem coaching him.
Let's go to Will Graves. Will, go ahead.
Will Graves.
Hey, Coach O. We need to get Coach Daniels to bring this kind of energy to his Zoom meetings with us, man. I'm loving it.
All right. Well, you should see Coach JD on the field. He brings plenty of energy. Don't be knocking him because of his energy.
What has allowed Vince to sort of stick around?
It's
like
this circle of psychology that I have looking at me. I don't know why I'm doing this, but anyway, what was your question?
I said, what is it about, Vince that has allowed him to sort of stick around this long? And six-round guys usually don't have 7, 8, 9, 10-year careers, and what does he bring to your group?
Vince is a professional.
Go ahead.
Vince is a professional, just like Dr. Bradley is a professional and lawyers are professionals. Vince is a professional, okay? And if you would, every year he does something different and he comes back and people are like, well, Vince should be gone this year because he's not, and he comes back and not only is he the same, but he's acquired another skill. So people don't understand, Vince Williams is a very intelligent person. He has an English degree from Florida State. You know what I mean? He's got 3 kids. His wife really helps him out, so those are just the person that Vince is. And that's why on the field, he always sticks around because he loves playing football. And he says he recognizes his weaknesses and he goes after them with a vengeance. And he gets those weaknesses thrown away. Like if this was, 8 years ago, we'd say, well, Vince is going to play 4 years and then go away. Well, that's not the same Vince, okay? His person is the same, but the football player has gotten a lot better because in his downtime, he's really improved himself. I tell Vince all the time, I wish I was like him, okay? I would have played much longer because in the off season, I didn't really have that focus and where I didn't have, I had the drive to play in things, but to go in search of things and find different people to help me, I didn't really do that. Football was different back then. And so, people could keep knocking on Vince. He's going to laugh all the way to a very long, successful NFL career.
All right, Brian Bacco. Brian, go ahead.
A little confrontational here, aren't I?
All right. I don't know what I'm walking into here, but good morning.
Watch out. It's a hornet's nest. Chickamauga.
When we talked to Keith early in camp about the inside linebacker position, he said,
can you start again?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I could hear you.
All right,
before I wasn't listening.
When we talked to Keith early in camp about the inside linebacker position specifically, he said communication was an issue at times last year and that playing Vince Moore should help with that. I mean, was a lot of that a factor of just having 2 new guys playing so much in Devin and Mark? And in that vein, have you guys decided who's going to wear that coveted green dot in 2020?
The green dot is still up for grabs. That's for the Coach Tomlin interview. I don't control the green dot, but communication is very important on the football field, and the better you could do it from the front to the back is what's so important, and that's where some things were lacking. And also, when you look at the offenses have been changing where they do things to screw with your communication, and we didn't do a good job with our second communication. You know, we could get the defense set, but then after they started moving, things were different. You know, we had a lot of new players. You know, if I think about San Francisco, Mika was there for, you know, about 48 hours he was with our team. And so to have that cohesion is really hard. It does take, you know, very good communicators at all three levels, but it also takes some practice, you know. So when you think about, you know, Minka shows up in San Francisco and we start playing, and Terrell Edmonds has to adjust, and my guys have to adjust, and Vince wasn't playing that game. You know, there's a lot of unknown there going into a game. And when you're a player, you like to go into the game and say, okay, I know who I'm working with. I'm going to be talking to Mike, or I'm going to be talking to Angela, and that's how the game goes. You know, so that's a very complex thing. And even Ryan, it took him a while. It probably took him, you know, 1 year to get over, you know, abrasiveness by veteran players. Then it took him another year to find his voice. And then by the third year, then he was a coach on the field. You know, so that's not an easy transition. Some people just naturally do it. You know, like I tell my guys, I have a good voice and I can talk, and they know that when I talk, you know, they're going to listen, but just because of the energy I bring out of my voice. And that's something we work on, you know, just getting them to do it. And then they got to go on the field and they're thinking about running into people, and they got to remember to talk. So it's a process, but it's a process every year for every football team. And I think we're progressing well there.
All right, we got time for one more. We'll go to
more. Who's going to be the last?
Bo, go ahead.
This is recorded, so all these goofy faces I'm making are going to be.
Good morning, Coach.
All right, Bo, what's up? Let's go.
What's up, man? Hey, when's the last time you were at the NVR club? And in terms of this linebacker crew, and piggybacking on Marcus Allen earlier, you're talking about that energy. What is his personality, and why does he have that energy?
I don't know what his personality is, okay, but he's a high energy football playing son of a gun, you know, some people would say, and that's what you like. You know, I think that's probably why we drafted him. You know, we thought, you know, he played safety in college and things like that, but you know, that's you know, sometimes, you know, I remember when I got in the league, they said it takes a couple years for some players to develop, and that's, you know, hopefully what we're seeing right now. We're going to see Marcus in his third year really develop into a real professional. You know, I talked about Vince earlier as being professional, okay? Devin, as young as he is, does some very professional things on the field, and that's why he makes plays like that. Vince does professional things off the field. Marcus has a very professional attitude, okay? Whereas he's going to go and run into people. And you can't have enough of those guys on the football team. I'm so happy to have them in my room. It's not even funny. And maybe that's where I get some of my energy from. But, you know, he's really, I don't know if I've answered your question, but I gave you a lot of good words there. But, you know, Marcus is, and my whole room is good. You know, Robert Spillane, he's a demon. Julie is fast. You know, he's learning the defense. He knows the defense. He's just learning the little intricacies of the defense. You know, like people would ask me, wait, well, how do you do that? You know, and I'm like, I don't know. That's just what I do. That's an intricacy that I have to teach my guys. Okay, not that I want them to play like me, not that they can play like me, but they could play. I want to play better than me. They're faster than me. They're bigger than me. They're stronger than me. So all these little things, when I watch football and I say, oh, I wish I would do it that way, that's what I have to teach them. Okay, so Marcus, you know, it's a new room, but he's done a great job. He knows what he's supposed to do if he was playing safety, and he knows what the linebackers are doing based on that knowledge, okay? So, you know, the pandemic really, you know, we missed 2,000 snaps. So when you think of that, that's really 2 football seasons, okay? So I tell that to my guys all the time. I say, listen, we're missing 2 football seasons, okay? We think about Lawrence Timmons. Lawrence Timmons played 1,000 snaps a season. So think of all those plays that Lawrence made in 2 years. we missed all those. So I got to get my information to these guys, and maybe that's why I bring more energy. You know, if I was at the MVR club, okay, I'd have some good pasta with the Casises because they're really great people. I miss Carmen, but Joey and Frankie are great people. And, you know, there's a lot of great places in Youngstown to eat Italian food. I was up there a while ago for my mom's funeral, and I thought about places, good places to stop, and the MVR was actually one of them. So